So stay tuned in this video because I'll be mentioning how you can win one of these machines. I've got 3 of them that's going to be given away and it's going to be simple. So yeah, like I said, stay tuned and I will explain. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name's Calvin and I've got a quick intro. Are cheap welding machines worth it? Is it a waste of money or can it get you out of trouble for a fraction of the price? So basically, behind me I have 4 of my 6 welding machines that I own. Let me quickly switch them off because they are really loud. Now, the purpose of this video is twofold. One, it's to give you information on the SSimder 450 Pro to let you know if it's any good, and also 2, this machine was sent to me and they wanted a review on it. So let me go into this explaining things from my point of view. I'm very biased when it comes to cheap gear. You pay for what you get in many cases, and especially when it comes to welders. And because I know a lot about welding machines, I feel like I can have an opinion on it. Certain other things I'll keep my mouth shut because I don't know. An example, when I was doing house renovations, I bought this sander for £14. £14 this sander. It done the job, and I'm sure to some of you professionals out there, you would never use something like this. And I want to explore if it's the same when it comes to these welding machines. I feel like I can speak some truth onto it, and it can give you a informed decision as to whether you want to spend mega money on a welding machine, or you're happy to buy your £14.99 or £14 welding machine and just be happy with it, like I was happy with this. So this is an official announcement of a giveaway that I'm doing. 3 lucky people will be winning these machines here. All the information is down below, so go check it out and be in the chance to win. So in front of me right now I have my Fronius Trans-Steel 2700. It is a single phase and 3 phase inverter MIG welder that can do stick, MIG and TIG. It goes up to 180 on single phase and 270 on 3 phase. It is a it can hold a 20 kilo spool of wire, and the duty cycle on single phase it can do 170 amps at 100% and 3 phase 185 amps at 100%, and full power it's only got a 30% duty cycle. This here is my big boy and I use it anytime I need 3 phase power. It's no longer my mobile unit just because it weighs too much. It's like 50 kilos, something silly like that. As of right now, the websites will be linked where I got the machines from. It's 4,700 VAT included. Next to it is my Kemppi, which is my mobile rig. It's basically just a MIG welder, even though it can do TIG and stick. I just use it as a MIG welder. Currently it is 2,500. Again, this will be in the description. It's my workhorse for all my mobile work. It welds up to 200 amps, and the most impressive thing about this machine, it's a pulse welder. It's a single phase pulse welder. And here is my favorite one. This here was one of my early machines that I bought. The first one I actually bought with my own money, minus the ones that I was gifted as a young kid. This here is my thermal arc 202 AC/DC inverter TIG welder basically. So yes, an AC/DC TIG welder does it all. 200 amps, beautiful at pulse. Duty cycle is more than enough for what I'm doing. Again, everything's running on single phase, so you've only got so much limitation. And those of you lot outside of the UK, single phase in the UK is 230 volts, and you've got a 13 amp fuse on the plugs. Change that fuse, you've got the relays that I think 32 amps at the relay. So enough power, but obviously there are limitations. It's really difficult to find this machine online, but I paid around £1,300 all in all for this machine. Here is a little bit of a wild card. Here's my plasma cutter, single phase plasma cutter. I think it says it does up to 12 mil. It runs on 110 and 230 volts, like £2,000 all in all. and max cut 10mm. And the reason why this is a wild card is because this machine here claims to be able to do all of this. A 10-in-1. A 10-in-1 machine. MIG welder, TIG welder, stick welder, plasma cutter, flux core and all that sort of stuff is one of its capabilities, but we all know that's still just like a MIG welder essentially. But it's claiming that it can do what all of these machines can do. So we are going to compare this to all the rest, and combined, how much was this? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, nearly £10,000 worth of machines to this machine here, which if I was to pull it up, so here it is on their official website, £803. Okay, so enough running through the specs. The way this is going to work, I am going to see what I can produce with top quality machines. That is where the bar is. The bar is set by my top quality machines, and seeing how close it can come to the quality of their welds. And as long as it can come close, I don't expect it to beat them or anything, but I expect not shit, basically. So one thing I will give props to with this kit, at least the kit that I have, I can't speak if you lot would have the same, is what it comes with. So one air compressor, moisture trap, a pressure gauge, a alley liner because it's made of plastic, electrode holder, your electrode chipping hammer and stuff, your wire feed wire, things with different diameters, Jubilee clips, bit of air hose, your plasma cutting attachment. It looks like an adapter of some sort from your gas to into the machine. Earth clamp. Here's the MIG torch. I had put tip dip on it earlier. Pretty flimsy and tiny looking. Your TIG torch. Now this got sent separately, so that's why I'm wondering if you lot would get it as well, but a spool gun for alley welding and a foot pedal. Now at least for this foot pedal, I am going to see if I can't adapt it to use on my other machines, purely because this is helpful. This I don't have, and this I'll be happy to use. So let's take a closer look at the machine. There are a bunch of connections at the front. There are a bunch of them. The machine, and I want to take this off, but I can't. Push, twist, sweep. Inside the machine. This was the wire that I put in there to test it earlier. Decent. Around the back now. Pretty simple. 2 fans. I'm gonna have to take this off. Fresh. So following the instructions to set up the MIG. Look how puny these contact tips are for the torch. I'll show you what a man torch looks like. That's the difference of the size of the torch. Again, I'm going by my big machines because that is what I know to be good quality. Like I said at the start of the video, it's an uphill battle that this machine has to fight. And from that MIG, from the pulse, I did not expect it to have pulse. I don't know if that's, to me, I believe that's true pulse, which is the pulse where it's not on and off like TIG pulse, but it's more in the background pulse, which allows you to get like a spray transfer depositing of material, and the pulse allows the material to stay in position without dripping down and away and all that sort of stuff, with minimal to no spatter. I weren't on the right settings because, you know, it's pretty late right now. I'm just trying to bang out this video. I'm gonna let yous lot come to the conclusion if this machine's good or not. But yeah, I'm impressed with that. So now I am going to move over to my Fronius, which is this machine here for the short circuit vertical up, and then I'm going to go on to the Kemppi down here for the pulse, because this doesn't have pulse and this does have pulse, but obviously I believe this is a better machine than that machine down there, so I want to use what this is good for, which is only synergic short circuit and spray transfer, and then pulse, which I thought this machine here was the only machine that done pulse, like in a single phase format. So yeah, let me quickly test them out and I'll do some comparisons in a second. So in conclusion, with the short circuit vertical up, I think the bottom one came out better, but that's because I'm trying to dial in the machine. So basically the bottom one, nice small arc, everything was just tiny and controlled. Above, too hot. Obviously it's better for penetration, but then you have to be careful about the edges and drooping and all of this sort of stuff. This, minus structurally, this looks prettier. I was at 130 amps on the cap. This went down to 115 amps and it was still too hot for this, and also it's 1mm wire versus this what was using 0.8mm wire. So not only is the wire thicker and it needs more power to melt the wire, and it should cool the weld down more, it's still more hotter on this. And I'm wondering if it's because maybe on this machine here the amps isn't quite what they are, and I'm just speculating right now, because I know when I've bought the small little cheap machines, they have a 200 amp duty cycle, a 200 amp power, and then you'd be running it and it's definitely not 200 amps. But I'm impressed. And vertical up, and the reason why I do vertical up, because with short circuit you're gonna get penetration if you weld anything small. Naturally you will get penetration. This is 3mm, 100% penetration. But when you start troubling this thick stuff, this here I think is like 6mm, this is when you're gonna want penetration, and as well as going vertical up. So it's just a bit more of a suited scenario in my opinion when it comes to short circuit stuff. And now I'm gonna do pulse with the Kemppi. Now you tell me what the difference is. So that's the Kemppi, and that there is the other machine. So they both look nice. The Kemppi, I don't know if it's me, travel speed, anything, but it's built up a lot more in the middle versus this. This is more concave looking and this is more convex. I believe that's the right way around. Let's see if you can see it here. There we go. Versus over there. A bit more build up in the middle. I'm going to test it with a size 8 TIG torch, see how it goes. So it's pretty easy to understand how to use this. This cycles through what you're trying to do, and that's your pre-gas, your amps. I've done that at 170 amps. Here's your pulse, so that's pulse off. Now your pulse is on, and this is your percentage in. And I believe it's just pulse on and off rather than a background current. And then this is your post flow. 4T, 2T, pretty simple, using the pedal on or off, and then you can obviously save your jobs. That's it. I need to now test this machine and see how this machine does on the other side at the TIG. So I'm a little bit rusty on this part. Trying to film with the camera is really uncomfortable, but root, second run, third run, pretty decent. Comparing it to the Sigma, yeah, there really isn't much difference. You could almost argue that this one here is more neater. I find when it comes to these machines here, this weighs nothing. This weighs absolutely nothing, and it's so much smaller. So many different reasons that it feels like you're holding nothing, and your welds can come out pretty neat with them. This, on the other hand, is bulky, heavy. The cable is 4 or 5 times as heavy. So I'm humbly eating my words. I want to not like this machine. I went in. If you see my tone change from now to the start of the video, I'm warming up to it, that's all I can say. So I've just taken out the 0.8mm wire. Now I'm going to put in some 1.2 Alu wire. I'm going to be lazy. I am going to be lazy. I am not changing the liner, nor am I going to put a spool gun on. I'm going to hope and pray and see how it works running through the torch. If you can see this, I had to cut open the contact tip in order to fit the 1.2 wire. It only came with 0.8 and 1mm contact tips, so I had to cut it, and I basically destroyed 4 of them in the process. I got no more left, so I decided to cut this out with a 5mm drill bit, because all the rest of the drill bits were snapping inside. I was struggling to get them dialed in, so it's low amps, 70 amps. The arc length 1.7 and inductance on 3. Let's see how that goes. I don't have all day to set up this machine. Basically, I can't dial it in. I don't have all day, like I said. I'm trying to smash this through, and I don't know if you can you won't know in the behind the scenes, but I'm having to swap wires, gases, liners, wheels, this, that, back and forth, and the way how I'm filming it, I'm having to, you know, it's long. It's absolutely long. So let's see how it goes. So it's been a couple days since the last video transition. I was doing some stainless steel in the meantime. So now I have a messy old table to clean up. But then I'll be able to get back to testing this on the plasma cut-in setting now. I'm not sad about that. I'm not sad about that. That did a good job. Minus obviously all the slag and all that nonsense at the bottom. Minus the slag. It was cutting through it. It was cutting through it. You can see daylight through there. But you know, it was bound to happen. This running on full power and this continuously on. Yes, I did say you can run the both of them together, but full power got too much and then it tripped. It tripped my relay, because honestly, that's plugged into my house. That's plugged into a socket extension in the house. You know what I'm saying? Just coming through this. And then it's running the lights. It's running my charger that's on right now. What else? Air compressor, this, charging another battery over there. I'm not surprised that it tripped out. That's 15 mil. It could possibly do 20 mil, but I'm not going to test it out in my garage. I don't want to set a fire or some nonsense. But yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with that. Now, I'm going to test my Hypertherm to see if it can do the equivalent, because this says it can only do a 10 mil clean cut. So let's see. So that there is some peeling 3.2 mil 7018 rods. Obviously, if I was to weld on a plate, I could make it look a lot nicer than what it looks like in this crappy weld over a weld situation. But this is just like a proof of concept. I'm not even going to test my other welder machine on this. There's no point. I concede. I will eat my hat and I will, what's the word, take back a lot of the harsh words that I was saying earlier. I'm going to quickly tidy up and then conclude my summary of this machine, or review or comparison, or whatever you want to call it. But it's looking good. It's looking good. Slightly looking good. So we have reached the end of the video, and it is time for me to give this my honest review, opinion, however you'd like to word it. But one quick little side note, this here I'm filming 3 months later. We're in March now, and the review was filmed December, Christmas times. So I've had a long time to think about what I want to say. It's obviously all gone out of my head now, but I wanted to reshoot this because I was mean to the machine previously, and I've had time to think about it and appreciate it really. So a lot of my mean criticisms I will take back. The price point of it being £600, it is really entry level with the price, and the features that it can do are impressive. It kept up with all my big machines, and it also has the features of a machine way more expensive than what this is. The fact that it's got high frequency TIG, it plasma cuts, it can Alu MIG weld, and it's got pulse welding capabilities. I'm not sure if I had MIG pulse in the right setting. I don't think the instruction said it is MIG pulse. I think it was only Alu pulse, but I MIG pulsed. I'm a big fan of MIG pulse. So the fact that it can do all of it at such a low price point, that this will be a no-brainer to have in your garage at home, especially hobby grade. If you're doing this as a business, well, it's a nice machine to start with. Obviously, depending on your experience with it, you may not stay with it forever, but as a single machine in a garage, yes, you can't go wrong with it. So my pros are the price, the small size of it, the lightweight of it as well. You can't go wrong with that. What else do I like about it? Small size, the price, all of the kit that it comes with, everything. You got all the kit in one go, with optional extras for like the foot pedal and stuff like that. It's full kit, happy days straight away. The user interface, the fact that you've got an LED screen to be able to dial in your settings and just see what you're doing. I'm tired of old machines now, like this machine back here, where it's just nonsense, where it's just lights and two little old school calculator screens on it. There's no need for that nonsense anymore. Now I have to talk about the cons of this. It can't be all good. There has to be some cons with this. Now take these cons with a pinch of salt. Weigh up your options of the price and things that you're happy with, and don't just hear the cons and be like, F this machine. So bear these things in mind. So personally, the things I don't particularly like about this machine is the fact of the cheapness. Where its saving grace is being cheap, also one of the biggest cons with this machine is because it's cheap. Not necessarily how it looks, but the things it comes with. The flimsy torch, the TIG torch is plastic, the fact that, you know, your connections are, you know, on the small low amperage size, that is tiny, that's 6mm, something small. The torch is small, the electrode holder, the cables that it comes with is like 1.5 meters. These are all beginner entry level things that you have to bear in mind, and obviously they do it for a reason, to keep it cheap. But they are the things that I personally don't like about this machine. They feel like toys, basically. But at the same time, because they're so light and so small, you can manhandle them in such a way it gives you nice welds. So swings and roundabouts with that. Second of all, which is what the main reason why I re-filmed this ending, is because the one main issue I have when it comes to cheap welding machines, especially ones that aren't necessarily mainstream machines from mainstream brands, is a lot of the times they are reskins of existing things out there, and the original ones are mass produced at such a cheap level that you can find some issues with them. I'm not saying this is the case, but usually the components are a lot cheaper than on the expensive machines, so you can have just a capacitor, a cheap capacitor that pops, breaks, done. The machine's done for. Now what do you do with it? Because more than likely you can't service them, and there ain't no one you can take it to get repaired. Hopefully in this case here, with this machine here, you can send it back for, you know, the manufacturer's warranty, or there's spare parts that you can get. But for the most part, when it comes to machines at this price point, it is the serviceability and the endurance of the components. They have to cut costs somewhere, and yeah, cutting costs is usually the downfall of these machines. But you lot may have your own experience with, you know, cheap machines, and it may last forever for you lot, and some of the rest of you it may not. I can give you an example. My thermal arc machine, I had it, and out of nowhere the high frequency was earthing inside the machine, and I took the machine apart, and a bit of rubber insulation had corroded or deteriorated to the point that it's jumping through and high frequency jumping inside the machine. So I put a little bit of rubber insulation between it and I fixed it. But with that being said, I do believe I could have took this to a service center which would have been able to fix the machine. Is that the case with this? I don't know. I will leave that to you lot to find out. But that's the only cons I really see on this machine, is just the cheaper components and the fact, if anything goes wrong, what can you do? This machine really has impressed me in many ways, and the way how I look at cheaper machines has changed. It's fundamentally changed, and I'm more optimistic on machines like this. And I do believe that if I can get machines like this, do a little showcase and then give them away to use, like I will do that more in the future, because it was fun to use these machines, and I'm sure 3 of you lucky subscribers will be more than happy to have one of these machines. And the only reason why I'm not keeping it is like I said, I've got my MIG welder there, I've got my AC/DC TIG welder underneath, and I've got a plasma cutter, so there would be no use for this machine in here. Had I not had any of the other machines, yeah, this would be stuck in here, and this would be my multi-purpose welding machine. But with that being said, follow my Instagram. I will be announcing the giveaway in the Instagram, and if you don't want to pick one of these up, the links will be in the description. 25% off. What more can I say? Thanks for watching.